other volunteers also do financial counseling, say for bankrupt, basically for Singaporeans who have financial problems. So in running this program, we thought that a good thing for us to do is to look at all the cases that we have done over the last decade or so and try to share with you what are some of the considerations, the implications, the decisions that people make that they ended up in bankrupt or they become homeless or whatever. So we try to work backwards, and that's why we call it a financial literacy awareness program. Now, 2 nights ago, that's Thursday night, at 8 o'clock, at spot 108 here, Pasir Avenue 1, 3 homeless persons came. One lady, her mother could not pay for her medical expenses, so they have to sell their HDB flat. And then they live in the void deck on the beach or something for 1 or 2 years. Then the mother died, and then she ended up in a homeless shelter. Now she's in interim housing. Interim housing is where you share a room, 2 to 4 person in a typically 3-room HDB flat. You pay about 200 plus a month. Now, another lady, the mother sick, became bedridden, so they could not afford the so-called nursing home care, and so she had to quit her job, and then they can't pay for the house, so in the end also homeless now. But of course the good news is she's now in interim housing. Now, interim housing is supposed to be better than homeless shelter. Okay. Now why am I telling you this? Because now we start with some of the things that you need to know about healthcare in Singapore, so you don't end up like this, Okay. I mentioned nursing home. Now you read the news last week and I think the week before last, it's in the news, because you have people, Singaporean, put the parent in Johor, then they abandon the parent. And some nursing homes in Singapore say that as much or as many as half the patients couldn't pay behind of their payments. So what you need to know about nursing home in Singapore is this. The maximum subsidy that you can get for a nursing home is 80%. Now if you get the maximum 80% subsidy, your household per capita income has to be $600 or below. So I give you an example, you have 4 people in the house, your household income is $2,401, so you already exceed, right? Okay. So if you are 2004, just nice, 80% subsidy. Typical nursing home costs about 1,600, cheapest one, I understand it's 1,600, 1,700, 1,800. So at 20%, you still have to pay about $300-400 a month. Now can you imagine if you are a family of 4, let's say, and your total income, including your CPF that you have to contribute 20% is 2,004, most people cannot afford to pay this, say $300-400. And that's why I think you see so many people have problems with the issue of nursing home. I mean, who wants to abandon the parents, right? So then we turn, of course, nursing home is when you are very old, right? Okay, let's start from the beginning. If you are sick, what do most people do? You go to the clinic below your HDB block, right? And you see the GP, then the GP says, okay, I think you need further treatment, then you send you to the hospital, right? So you say, cheaper, I go to public hospital, a problem. Why? Because if you come with a referral letter from a GP from a private clinic, you cannot go into a subsidized ward. Subsidized ward is class C and B2. So now that you know this, you must go to a polyclinic to get a referral letter. Then you don't have this problem. Now why is this a big problem? The last time they asked in Parliament, those people who go into a non-subsidized ward, then they apply for downgrading, have to go for means testing. The success rate is only 1%, That means out of 100 people who apply for downgrade, 99 fail, Okay, so don't get into a situation where you are already in the hospital, then you apply for downgrading, big headache, very stressful. Okay? Now, of course, if you go to the A and B in the public hospital, you are also entitled to a subsidized ward. You don't have to. But if really you end up in a case where you come from, sometimes you can't help you, right? You see the GP, right? The polyclinic not open yet, right? So you see a GP, you go to the hospital, you have this problem, what do you do? If possible, you come out and go to polyclinic, queue up to another referral letter, right? Because once you go in, okay. From 1st January this year, there's a new medical benefits card. Any one household income not more than 1,500 per capita, 40 years old and above, Singaporean, and the house, the net annual value is less than 13,000. So most of the private property one, you can forget about this one, but if you're HDB or that, per capita 1,500, 40 years and above, you can apply for this medical benefit card. Very useful because you can go to like 400 participating clinics, private clinics, then there is subsidy. So instead of paying like $40, you may pay 20 plus. It's a bit more than polyclinic, but you save a lot of money. And this one, they estimate about 700,000 people are eligible. So far, only 100,000 people apply. Not many people know about it. Also, do this one. To apply, you just need to go to public hospital or polyclinic or community center to get the application form. Okay? So, you go to the hospital, and then you want to go to a subsidized ward, right? After listening to me, then they tell you, okay, there's no subsidized ward available. Then what do? You say, wait lah, okay? Wait on, right? So you wait 1 hour, 5 hours, 6 hours. So I've seen a lot of cases, especially if they bring their children or their mother there, then they say, wow, wait so many hours, they cannot take it already, right? Then they say, okay, never mind, I give up. I go to the non-subsidized ward. Now don't do that, as far as I know, the latest information that we have is the benchmark is 12 hours. That means they cannot make you wait more than 12 hours. Okay? Whether this change, I don't know, but all this is secret one. Our friends tell us. 12 hours. So once you hit 12 hours, they either have to transfer you to another hospital with subsidized ward, or upgrade you to higher class. You still pay the subsidized rate, more like airline, right? Upgrade to first class. Okay. So now this is what this is what you need to. These are things that you need to know, Okay. So you go to the hospital, right? Then they will ask you for deposit, right? Okay. Every few days they ask you for deposit. Right? Why do you have this problem? Because you're in a non-subsidized ward, or you don't have medical insurance, or you don't have MediSave. Very stressful. Every few days they'll ask you for money. So to make sure you don't have this problem, first you must have CPF medical insurance. What is CPF medical insurance? Medical insurance that you can use CPF to pay one. Okay? The most basic is MediShield. So it's not everybody must have one. Don't say, oh, my employer covered me, so I don't need MediShield. One day you lose your job, you retire already, right? Then where's your medical insurance? So you must have MediShield. Okay? Now, my suggestion to you is, even if you have MediShield, if you can afford it, you have money in your CPF, better upgrade to the private shield plans. Private plans like B, A, as charged. As charged means the best one paid. I tell you why. Because you think you have MediShield, you don't have a problem, you insist on going to Class C, right? But if you end up having illness or operation, that is what we call non-subsidized. In Singapore they have subsidized medicine, subsidized treatment, and non-subsidized. Non-subsidized means very expensive one, so non-subsidized. So you end up in a non-subsidized problem, you have a big problem, right? Because the MediShield will be enough to cover. Then you have to come out from your own pocket. So wherever possible, do that. And of course, in the private shield plans, you can also buy a rider to cover the deductible and co-insurance of the medical plan. That one you have to use cash to pay. Okay. Now, a lot of people are thinking of going to Malaysia for medical treatment. Nothing wrong with that, because in approved hospitals in Malaysia, you can use your MediSave to pay also. But here's what they didn't tell you. Your CPF medical insurance don't cover treatment in Malaysia. Okay? So you can use your MediSave, but your insurance is not going to pay. Right? So this is something you must be aware of. I've seen people, they go to Malaysia, they say, insurance don't have. Why? The insurance don't cover Malaysia. Right? All CPF medical insurance only cover in Singapore. Okay? Unless it's a life-threatening situation overseas or something. So, you go to hospital, right? Then, time for you to come out already. You cannot pay. What do? Now, in Singapore, as long as you owe money, the debt collector will come to look for you, including the hospital. I've seen $40 bill you pay also. Debt collector will, of course, they don't, for $40 they don't come to your house to disturb you. Okay, they write a letter to you. Okay, so if you're in a situation like this, right, you really can't pay. Please go see your MP, go talk to the hospital, and try to arrange an installment plan. Now, many of the things I'm going to say this afternoon has to do with seeing MP, talking to HDB, going to hospital, appealing means asking for a special case by case. Right? You must be aware that the person you are talking to, the person who is doing financial counseling at the hospital, everybody will say cannot pay one, right? So you must try to help the person to understand that you really cannot pay. In other words, if you have a bank statement that shows you got no money inside, okay, or you got bill that you cannot pay, red color one, all this you must bring in, right? Okay? If the Along splash your house, might take picture with your number there also. Right? No, I'm serious, no, because there are so many of these cases. You must understand the person sitting there, everybody say cannot pay, right? So how can they help everybody? So you got to help the person to help you, bring evidence, whatever, to show the person that you really cannot pay. Then I've seen people who are on a 40-year installment payment plan to hospital bill. But as far as I know, no one has ever been made bankrupt or sued in court for not being able to pay a public hospital bill when they really cannot pay. Now currently, the last statistic we have is people owe public hospitals 110 million. They just wrote off 90 million for the last 3 years. So clearly you can see a lot of people cannot pay. Credit Counseling Singapore's latest report about 20% of Singaporeans who go for credit counseling that problem because they cannot pay the medical bills. For PR, permanent resident, even worse, it's 31%. Now you notice in recent years, all the foreigners and PR have to pay more money. Okay? So if you have dependent spouse or children or your mother-in-law who are foreigners or PRs, this you must know. Foreigner go to public hospital class C, have to pay 5 times more. Okay? PR go to public hospital depending on the means testing. Below 3,002 per month pay is about 2.2 times more. If the pay exceed 5,000 plus is 3 times more. So I give you an example. The whole family falls sick, so all go hospital, right? A Singaporean go to class C, the bill is 50,000, 80% subsidy, you pay 10,000. Now the mother-in-law who is a foreigner, no subsidy 5 times, right? Pay 50,000. The spouse who is a PR, 2 point something to 3 point something times, let's pay 21,000 or 31,000. Okay? So you must understand this, because this one is a big problem we come across a lot of such problems, right? How to minimize all this? Make sure, like I said, you have at least the basic CPF medical insurance. Earlier I mentioned nursing home, right? Nursing home is bedridden, right? So in Singapore they have Elder Shield, right? It's also one of the CPF medical scheme. So if your money, your Medisave, please pay for this one again. Because if you are bedridden, at least that one will pay you say $600 a month. Better than nothing. So basically what I'm telling you is, anything can use CPF Medisave to pay, whether it's dependent protection scheme, home protection scheme, Medishield, Elder Shield. If you have money, your Medisave pay, right? Don't have to think one, okay? Because anyway, the Medisave money, you die already, you give to your children, right? So you have to use this. Okay. The trend today you see is that about half the people are using their Medisave for another generation. Why am I saying? Half the people are not using the Medisave to pay for their own bill, no. They are paying for the parents' bill, whatever. Now this is very serious because if half the people are using it to pay for somebody else's bill, by the time they grow old, they have no money left inside, right? Okay? So you must, don't know how to say how many times, you must have the basic Medishield insurance. Okay? If you have the cash, buy the deductible, buy the as charge, whatever, right? If you have the money, buy the the better plan. I tell you why. Worst come to worst, the day comes, I cannot afford the premium, you always downgrade back to MediShield. That one guarantee whether a problem, right? Even if your premium is $2,000 a year, right? You say I cannot pay. If every year you need to spend 100,000 in the hospital, you see whether you can pay or not. But by group, you will pay that. Okay. So in Singapore, right, is what happens is you cannot pay. There's Medifund. Okay. Now Medifund, the problem is this. Very hard to qualify. And even if you qualify, you may make up full subsidy, you may get 50% or whatever. Okay. Now, Medifund criteria, as far as we know, is secret. So, but more or less we know. Basically, if you cannot pay, you apply for Medifund. To qualify, basically, I think the entire family, all the Medisave must be zero. Okay. And all the family cannot have more than $4,000 assets. And then you cannot be staying in a private property. So it's like touching Toto, not so easy one, right? So you do not assume that if I cannot pay, I apply for Medifund, I will get. Right? If that's the case, you don't have so many people with all these problems, right? Okay. Now one of the most funniest, or just funny, one of the most strange cases we have had at Potong Pasir Block 108 was one day one gentleman came. And then he took out his medical report, and then he cried. Then we look at the report, and the doctor said, anytime can die one. And then he says he needs $88,000 for some kind of complicated operation. And he's already spent $380,000, all his money, everything all gone already. CPF, cash, all wiped out already, right? Okay. They got no money, he was going to die already. How? So we thought, he has gone through everything, see MP, go to see hospital, everything. Okay. So it has a good ending actually. So I asked him, you have money in your CPF, ordinary and special account, have about 100,000. So since the doctor said you're going to die, you cannot work early, you apply, you get the money out. So the guy said, how nobody tell us? That's why in financial counseling, sometimes what is very simple to us, to the layman, they don't understand. Because if you are certified, you're unable to engage in any occupation, you can apply to withdraw your CPF. Now, here's the best part. Then the guy says, hey, if I take out my 100,000, then I go operation 90,000, I have no money left, I will starve to death. I think that might take a chance that don't go for operation. I think it's still alive. I think as long as you don't have stress, you don't have to worry so many things, you'll survive. I think it's stress was because of this. So these are the issues primarily on medical in Singapore. Any questions? Medical problem? Don't have?
Yes, usually these are medical insurances, like the private ones of MediShield. They do not cover accidents, right? Only sicknesses.
No. CPF medical cover everything.
So long as hospitalization.
Yeah, so long you're hospitalized. Yeah.
So even accidents are covered.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course, it's a good question because if you have accident, then you're not hospitalized, then you're not covered.
Of course.
Then you need the accident insurance, like medical reimbursement, right? So in risk management, we look at what we call the risk exposure of a person. Risk exposure means all the bad things that can happen to you. Then you see whether you have the insurance to cover all these bad things, because you don't want to have a hole or a gap in your risk exposure, because you miss one thing, like I give you example. The person have an accident, then cannot work. Okay. Now, under ElderShield to claim, you need what you call daily activities of learning. You must have 3 cannot do, then can claim. That means like you cannot bathe yourself, cannot dress yourself, cannot move by yourself. Now, what if you don't get 3? Yeah, you got a stroke. You can still do everything. One thing you cannot work only. So the ElderShield won't pay. You see. So for this, you need like disability insurance. So risk exposure, then whether you have the right cover. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I went for a CPF talk recently, so we talked about the ElderShield as well. And so they said that ElderShield you can choose a $300 plan or a $400 plan, and the coverage is for a maximum of 6 years. So the thing is, 300 or 400 won't even be able to get you a maid, which is necessary to help you to dress and stuff like that. And then it's assuming that in 6 years' time you will not,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so we raised to the CPF board that something needs to be done because it's not adequate. So what they said was that money-wise, the premiums will go up if they raise how much they give. So is there any solution that we can propose to the government if they can't think of a better plan?
Everybody heard the question?
Yeah.
I think your voice okay lah.
Yeah.
Actually, the MediSave that you use CPF for, the max you can buy now is 600. Yeah, one of the insurance have 600 on it. Okay, but like you say lah, 600 is not enough, right? No,
Yeah.
I cannot. No? So the only way is to buy disability insurance using cash. No? Yeah. So that's the solution.
So for a young person like me, when do you think I should start buying the disability? Should I buy when I hit 40 or should I just buy now?
Okay, the older you are, the more expensive it is lah. No? So if I were you, but of course you need to be working then you can buy it. No? Yeah. So the moment you start buying, because when you're young, very cheap one. When you wait until you're old, wow, everything you buy is very expensive. Okay, and the premium don't increase with age one. No? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the question behind it.
Yeah, Mr. Leong, you mentioned that there's this health assistant card, right?
Yeah.
Then if your GP is participating in this scheme, right, you can get discount. So if let's say this participating GP give you a referral letter,
Yeah.
can this patient go to a subsidized ward?
Yes, can. Yeah. So this card very important. Not only you get subsidy, you also qualify for subsidized one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think medical benefits card.
How to apply?
You either go to your CC or polyclinic or public hospital. You want to apply for medical benefit. They give you a form to fill up. Finish it. Like I said, 700,000 people are estimated to be eligible, but only 100,000 apply. So one of the least known schemes, I think, in Singapore. So you should do it. This one free one. The application is free. Okay.
Correctly that there's a salary cap for this.
Yeah, the salary cap is per capita 1,500. Supposing 4 person in the house, the salary 1,500 times 4 is 6,000, right? 4 person in the house, the total household income less than 6,000 qualified.
But there's a house valuation, is it?
Yes, net asset value of the house 13,000 and above don't qualify. So you are staying private property, chances are you may not qualify. But actually quite easy lah. You move to stay with your daughter in the HDB first more. After you can always, you say your IC doesn't mean you need to stay there at the same time, don't say I say one. Right? Okay.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Let's say I go to a public hospital. I have something urgent that's quite painful. I really want to get it treated. But they say actually for your kind of illness, right, I can do it outpatient. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I do it outpatient, even if I'm a private integrated shield plan, I can claim insurance, right? Because outpatient is limited. So in this kind of situation, what do I do?
Actually, if you talk to the doctor, they will know what to do. They will put that you have been admitted for at least 6 hours or something.
So I have to stay there for 6 hours, die to get coverage.
Yeah.
Because the situation now is more and more treatments are going.
At least you know better. You don't know, then you less than 6 hours, you not covered first. Yeah. So different insurance plans have different conditions. But basically, this 6-hour thing applies for most of what you are referring to. When you need to be admitted to the hospital. So you tell them, okay, you don't tell them, then you may have a...
What do you mean by tell them? Like tell the doctor?
I need to claim insurance, and I understand that for insurance, I need to be admitted for at least 6 hours. Okay, yeah.
Then they will know.
Yeah. So you bring your Game Boy or whatever, do knitting or whatever. But all the doctors and hospitals, they know. So you just tell them, they will do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because they want to help you to claim so much. Okay, but you brought an interesting situation in that. Very often people tell us when you go to hospital, this is what they are told. You want subsidized treatment, but you wait 3 months. Okay, you want non-subsidized, next week I can operate for you. And then your this thing is actually not very serious, but you never know, right? So up to you lah. So a lot of people get frightened. Okay, so but that's the situation in Singapore. You cannot help it. Because the hospital have to collect enough money from the non-subsidized people to pay everybody, right? So if everybody want to have subsidized, then die the hospital go bankrupt, right? So they have to do this, right? So but from the affordability point of view, right? If you cannot afford, then you cannot afford. Don't come and see us at 1 way on Thursday and say, oh, I say so it's not such a big issue, if you ask me. So why you cannot choose your doctor and say, whoever's on duty will operate for you. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. Okay, next let me move on to housing.